Hey, hope you're doing all right. In this video, we're going to go over how to use Cypress's Intercept method to spy on requests and stub responses. So I've got just this homepage test. If you haven't used Cypress before, I've got another video that went through how to set up these different tests and just was kind of an introduction to Cypress. So you can watch that if you need to get caught up. The only other change that I've made changes in package.json. I switched test to Cypress Open instead of Cypress Run so that we can use the GUI. And then in this games.js, I just added this extra call so we could practice with a network request being sent. So I've just got this fetch, and I know that a call is being made, or I'm going to make a call, excuse me, to this games endpoint, and then just console log the response. Nothing really crazy going on here. So in our homepage component, I'm just going to comment these tests out because we don't need them. But what Intercept allows you to do, Cypress Intercept allows you to basically tag on to any network requests that are being made, and then you can either test those results and like check on the actual response, or you can kind of stop it from processing that request and supply your own data. And so the reason you'd want to do that second thing, supplying your own data, is if you're concerned about having consistent data coming back for you to test each time. So let's go ahead and dive into this. I'm going to run, so I've got Cypress running already, so I'm just going to click on this home page here. And so it runs, it renders great. So what we're going to do first is we're going to run cy.intercept. And I know that my request is going to this endpoint, so I'm going to copy it and paste it. So I'm going to intercept this. Now, if I want to provide my own response, got a couple of options. I can just add a comma, and I can just provide a string, and now this string will be the response. So if I hit save and rerun these tests, if I go to inspect it, one more time. Looks like I did something incorrectly with that string setup real quick. If I flip this back over, I think it's expecting JSON. So what I can do instead is I can say like games 1. And there's my response. So there's my little JSON response that I'm getting back from that interception. So now I'm not getting the actual response from that endpoint. I'm just getting this stubbed response that I want. You can also do this with the fixtures folder. So fixtures gives you this example.json. You could build out your own JSON file with all the data that you want and store it in this fixtures folder. And then we just write fixture and then the name of the file. And so there, it already ran again. Let's try this one more time. Cool. So there is our example.json. So obviously this is not at all relevant to the NBA scoreboard here, but this shows you just how you would use that file. So you get your JSON here, and you could create whatever data that you want to make sure that you have consistent tests. So that's how a couple ways that you would stub responses. Let's check out how you could spy on a response and then use that data. So if we go back to our tests, we're going to make some tweaks here. So we will get rid of this object, this JSON reference, and then we're going to use an alias. So we're going to say cy.intercept as, and we can just call this kind of whatever we want. And so this is just a nickname that's going to, it's basically like, think of it like setting a variable name So we're just calling this cy.intercept at this endpoint. We're just calling it games. And then we're going to use cy.wait. And what this will do is it will allow for the network request cycle to be completed before moving on. So we're going to wait for games. And then we're going to take our intercepted data. And for now, let's just go ahead and console log it and see what we get. So one more time. So we're getting our data here, and this data coming through, this first one, is because here we're console logging our response. And so one quick tweak that I'll make is here in our console log, I'll label this with interception. And so now we can more clearly differentiate between the two. Cool, so there it is. So that's our data from the console log. Here's our interception. And so it gives us access to all of this different information. And typically what I like to do, this is usually like if I'm making, like say you've got a test that like opens up a new tab and that tab is based off of an ID that's come in or something like that, where you need access to this data that's coming in from that response and you want to do something with it in your test. This interception method has been really helpful. So if I got the response here and the body, you can just do normal tests like this. So I can do like the response body data should have length of 25. So let's see if we can write a test like that. So let's do, we'll set this to a variable. We'll say response is equal to the interception dot, let's track it down, interception dot response dot body dot data. And then here, just to make sure we've got it, let's console log the response. So there's our interception. Cool. And so then we can do something on the inside like expect request or response to have length of 25 or whatever the length you expect it to have. And it passes because the length is 25. So lots of really cool things that you can do with Intercept. Sometimes what you'll see on the left side too with the GUI is it'll list out the network responses. There's another project that I'm working on that makes several network calls and then it just kind of lists them out as they're being called. So that can be a helpful tool to look for. And then, of course, just checking the docs. And I'll leave a link to the specific Intercept page. So if you have questions and things aren't working right off the bat, then make sure you just check out the documentation. And then, as always, if things are still kind of getting sticky for you, I'm happy to help as best I can. Just leave a question in the comments, and I'd be happy to help. So thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. And until next time, have a good one.